Charles' Faith Journey. When I was a child, I don't recall going to church with my mom or any of my siblings. I did, however, as a teenager, get invited to attend the Southern Baptist Church with my adult friend, L.A. Phelps. That time was special because my buddies were along as well, so it was really more of a social event for me rather than a religious experience. However, with that said, it paved the way for me to attend a Billy Graham event in Memphis when I was a junior in high school. At the event, I went forward with my friends for the altar call and accepted the Lord as my Savior into my life. But looking back at that, I can't say that my life was really changed because I did not fully commit my life to being a devoted follower of Christ. I didn't read or study the Bible, but I did continue going to church. And while God blessed me in many of my decisions during the next 36 years, He wasn't really the Lord of my life. Maybe it was more the seeds were planted into my heart that later bloomed, or perhaps I just became disobedient to the Lord by not growing in my faith or accepting Him as Lord of my life. I started attending the Methodist Church while I was in college. After Carolyn and I married, we joined the Southern Baptist Church in Orlando and continued with that denomination in Blacksburg, and then went to the American Baptist Church when we moved to Colorado. Most of this time, church seemed more like an obligation to me, something that could be checked off as being done. I failed to incorporate spiritual leadership in my home with my sons, other than blessing our food before dinner. Looking back, because I was being lazy about faith and not taking it seriously, I used the excuse that I could expose them to religion and then allow them to choose for themselves. This was wrong. I stopped going to church in 1983 and used travel and business as a reason. Fast forward to 1991 when Louise and I got married. Louise's faith was always very important to her, but we hadn't really figured out what we would do when we got married. We attended the Catholic Church initially, but that wasn't comfortable for me. We visited some other denominations, but nothing seemed to resonate. It wasn't until our friends John and Beth Deacons invited us to Summit View Community Church that we seemed to find something that we could both agree to attend. Louise continued attending the Catholic Church as well for a while. There were several things that attracted me to Summit View. First of all, it wasn't about a church building. We met at the Holiday Inn initially and then moved to a high school before buying our present building. We didn't have rituals that I was accustomed to. We had a band to lead worship and people were dressed very casually, so it wasn't about showing off nice clothes. We got engaged in a small group, which was a group of like-minded people that met each week to study the Bible. Louise and I were lost most of the time, but decided we could learn like everyone else if we studied and tried and listened. So that's what we did. We got to know people for who they were. They prayed out loud, and that was very uncomfortable at first, but it got better as time went on. And my friend John Deacons mentored me by meeting with me weekly to go through parts of the Bible or to do a study. He was especially helpful to me in challenging me and then training me to run my business according to biblical principles. Looking back, this was a turning point for our company and for my life. I started attending national meetings of organizations who were running their businesses according to how God planned, and it was encouraging and rewarding to me. Prior to this, I was more concerned about the bottom line rather than people. So, For the past 23 years, I have tried to have a conscious desire of following the Lord's ways and getting to know Him better and love Him more. I have accepted the gift of salvation from the Lord, and I challenge each member of our family to do the same. I have an analogy that I'd like to share. When we still had fiscal, we offered a gift of software to our clients. It was free software that made their system more productive. But we realized many were not using it. I guess they didn't realize it had valuable capabilities because it was free. However, when we charged them for it, it was used. When I think of the gift of salvation, it is a similar situation. It is a free gift that is offered that we can accept and use like software, or not accept and, of course, then not have the benefit of eternity in heaven. Salvation is a gift that is free to us who accept it because the price has already been paid by Jesus dying on the cross. It's a gift that you can accept at any time, but if you don't accept the gift prior to your death, it will be too late and your eternity will not be in heaven. If you accept the gift during your lifetime, you have a chance to use all the benefits, like the software analogy, which will change your perspectives on life and challenge you in your decision making. Speaking from someone who waited to get serious about faith until later in life, I wish I had done it differently, but I'm thankful that God did get hold of my attention when He did. My lack of commitment to the Lord has impacted my family and now their families. As I write this, I am dealing with a disease that is trying to overtake my brain and body. There are times that I wish I didn't have to go through this anymore. But because God has not taken me yet, I guess He's not finished with me yet. He is still refining me on this earth. I don't know what people do who are sick, who have no faith. I know my eternal destination, and I find great comfort in that, even when life is difficult during my illness. My heartfelt desire is for each of you not to wait to make an eternal decision, rather for you to accept Jesus Christ as your Savior and Lord and follow Him diligently for the rest of your life. As David Jeremiah states, quote, "There is no greater turning point than the day we move from darkness to light, from death to life, from fear to faith." And for those who make this choice, our life together as a family will not end upon death, because we will all be together for eternity in heaven.